welcome to Share Truth Apply Scripture. I'm Jordan Shambly, joined by Cedra Sarton, and today we have our intern, Maddie King. She's been helping us this summer writing articles and making sure that we have plenty of fresh stuff on our website. So if you want to check out her writing, go to engagemagazine.net. There's a ton of articles by her there. She's been doing a great job. We're so happy to have her here. Today, we're going to be talking about a very particular point in life for young Christians, and that is surviving high school as a Christian, and also looking ahead to different college options, maybe some fears and questions that arise when you look ahead at life after high school. For me personally, I was homeschooled. My experience is very different than you two. You were in a public school, extremely public school, as you say.
Yeah,
and you'll have to explain what that means.
It is a public school.
Okay, well there you go. Yeah,
I'm grateful for my education, but it was a public school.
I'm grateful for your education too. I have to work with you, so that helps.
Thank you.
And also, Maddie, you went to a private school.
I went to a Christian private school, a very small Christian private school.
Funny.
Yeah. So our experiences in this realm is pretty different between us all, but I think there are things that are very similar too.
Yeah.
So and that's why we have Maddie on right now, because that's where she is currently. She just graduated high school, and she's coming to us fresh from that. So hopefully the experience that you're having with us right now is very good.
Actually, it's been really fun and really informative, actually, and
I'm really glad to hear that.
It's been helping me realize what I want to do in the future, possibly even come back and work here.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Yeah. So
I hope it's not like I don't want to be in this anymore.
Well, but that's
I'm loving it.
Even if it was, at least you know now.
Yeah. Well,
true.
That's a good thing too, because for me, coming out of high school, I remember I was intensely interested in making movies. So I in my mind, I was like, I want to be a director. I want to go into videography. I want to learn how a movie is made. And I had that opportunity here at AFA, working for American Famous Studios when it was first sort of created here as a department. I was sort of like an intern, kind of part-time, learning how to edit video and stuff. And over a couple of years, I began to realize this is not necessarily the direction I want to go in. Thankfully, I was able to stay here and start writing, and that quickly it became apparent that's what I need to do.
Yeah.
But I think experiences are good teachers, and whether or not they turn out the way you think, as long as you're learning something from them, at least that acts as a stepping stone maybe to help you make the next decision. And I don't know if y'all have had experiences like that.
Oh, I have.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I might be young, but I have.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. What about you, Cedra?
I realized pretty quickly whenever I graduated, when I was where Maddie is, I was on this path set for elementary education.
Oh, wow.
And so
definitely not for everybody.
and then I realized after one particular VBS that I do not want to be stuck in a classroom full of children every day.
Yeah.
And that I'm not saying anything against it, because I really look up to elementary teachers. My mom's a kindergarten teacher, and I just cannot. So I kind of had that wake up call and ended up I'm not doing anything close to that.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I think one of the things that our experiences might vary a good deal is the subject of peer pressure. So when you're going through high school, for me, like, I was obviously in high school the only other kids around, unless we were with other families who were also homeschooling in our homeschool support group locally. They were usually my siblings, and I'm a middle child, so I had two older sisters. They did influence me in some regard, not greatly because they were my sisters. And then I had all of my younger siblings, so I was not in a position necessarily to have peer pressure. But I know that you two were in a different environment where you were surrounded by children, or at that point, children and teens your own age, who may have influenced you one way or the other. And as a Christian in high school especially, that can be a challenge. Because even if you go like Maddie, even if you go to a private Christian school,
you'll still have peer pressure and all the temptations of public school.
Yeah, and it's not a guarantee that your classmates are going to be Christians as well.
Yeah, that's true.
Or
because they're going where their parents are sending them.
Exactly,
right.
Yeah.
A lot of times, so they don't choose where they're going at that point, at that stage. For me, it was simply location where I lived. I lived here in this district, so I went to that school, and I went to the same school, kindergarten all the way through my senior year. But I didn't do it as a Christian. I did it as a church kid.
Yeah.
But I was not a Christian.
Right.
Yeah.
My mom had us in church all my life, so I knew how to be. I knew how Christians were supposed to behave, but I had not fully surrendered at that time. So it was a much harder struggle for me,
Right.
because I was expected to look and act a certain way because people knew me from my church, and trying to keep on that persona like that. It was an act for me.
Yeah.
So no one at church would know that I was not actually a Christian.
Right.
And they would, but then at school I'd be a totally different person with my friends.
Yeah. I relate to that because I think we have that in common. I became a Christian at 16 years old, so I was almost done with high school, and in the exact same way, I kind of prided myself in the fact that people saw me as the good child. Like, I was the one who never rebelled, or not never, but rarely rebelled. And I was doing everything the way I should. I spoke the way I should. I was very respectful and polite to everyone.
Yeah.
But on the inside, like, there was a lot of rebellion going on. And I think that at the time we were going to a little country church here in Tupelo, and the kids there that I played with probably knew that side of me way more than anyone else did. So and I think honestly I may have been a bad influence on them in a way. This Christian, homeschool kid over here.
That's
like,
true.
Letting it out when I'm with kids my own age. That was definitely something that happened. So we might share that experience a little bit. But Maddie, you're a Christian. You just got out of high school.
Yes.
What are some of your experiences, if you had any?
Well, I was actually the oldest child, so my sister was, so I basically had all the pressure put on me to be the good sister, the good example.
Yeah.
And she has her friends over all the time. In fact, they're practically my little sisters now.
Oh, right.
At this point, I mean, they're over all the time. But when we were out going places, they would always want to do certain things, and I'd have to be the one telling them, no, that's not a good idea.
Right, yeah.
And then that's when the peer pressure came in. I was like, no, we can't do this. We can't. Gotta stay in the guidelines. Gotta do what the parents say. But it was the same way with my friends. I don't exactly hang out with the best people in the world.
Right, yeah.
But I've been a Christian since I was 7, so if anything, I was actually trying to be the good example for them.
Right.
Because at school, we all hanged out and we did what we were told, but outside of school was a different story. Because we don't have the dress code anymore.
Right, yeah.
We don't have the rules to follow. We can do whatever we want, but even then, we weren't bad because literally the parties I went to involved Just Dance and Mountain Dew.
Right.
So, I mean, we didn't really
that's pretty tame.
We didn't have anything really bad to do because that's how we were raised. We were raised, practically all of us have been going to school there since K4. I'd been going since 2nd grade, but we've been raised there, so we didn't really know how to do anything bad.
Right, yeah.
And then I get to church, and all my friends who go to public school, they're going through all this stuff, and I hang out with them. And they'd have me go out trying to do stuff with them. And I will say I was really, really tempted at times to do some things that probably were not the best.
Right.
But luckily for me, I was like, red flags popped up every time that happened. I was like, okay, red flag, we got to go this way. We got to get away before anything bad happens.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with, I mean, if you look at it, the story of Joseph.
True.
When Potiphar's wife tempted him, if you look in scripture, she tempted him and tried to seduce him, and he ran away, I mean, from that situation. And sometimes when there are temptations and they become hard, if you really are struggling, get up and walk away from that situation.
Yeah, sometimes like a part of a spiritual warfare is running away. I
Yeah.
mean, it sounds like you're retreating in like surrender or something, but no, it just means what you can handle and what you can't handle.
Yeah. Run away
and
from sin. Though
there's-
sometimes running away from sin is not
You're commanded. to
it's
do
not
that.
it's not a cowardly act. You're running
No.
away from sin and running into the arms
Right.
of Jesus.
Right.
There, trying to, at least I hope that's what you do.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Yeah, and I wish I could say that that was kind of the pattern of my life.
Yeah.
I mean, at the time, I was not a Christian, so I was lost. I was as lost as anyone else. But like there would be times so that I knew what I was supposed to. I knew better about certain things. That I knew the way my mom and dad raised me to be a Christian, and I think they believed that I was, even though I wasn't.
Yeah.
And so I had that pressure on me you have to be a Christian. You have to do the Christian things. I believed myself to be a Christian, even though I wasn't. And so, like when my friends would want to talk about things that were inappropriate or want to do things that I knew were wrong, I would stand up. I would say, well, we shouldn't do that because I'm a Christian, and I mean I can't look at that, or I can't do those things. And then I would be kind of treated as if I was a prude, and like,
Yeah.
oh well, you're just too good or whatever. And I would definitely, when that happened, I would have this. It would be a super hard temptation
That is
to be
true.
like, you know what, never mind. I want to be, I want to be accepted, and honestly, when I say it like that, that was a really big thing for me to be accepted by people who thought I was a Christian and really admire me for that, but also people who kind of knew my hypocrisy and like, well, why don't you just be like us? And I feel like that's kind of the core of peer pressure. You just want that acceptance, and that honestly does not leave you once you leave high school.
Honestly.
Going into college and even in a career as an adult, like that's everywhere.
Or just friends in general.
Yeah, and friends in general. It comes at you at all sides, and I think the important thing is whether you're in high school, you're in college, or an adult, you're in your career and you have a family. Understanding that acceptance, the only acceptance that you need is with Christ, with Jesus, and if He accepts you. Which God accepts you through Him. God accepts you because when He looks at you as a Christian, He sees the righteousness of Christ applied to you. So that is the only acceptance that counts.
I think at this stage in life, I've learned how to surround myself with a certain kind of people. That doesn't mean I can't love on and minister to others, but the people that I sit and spend that I hold a lot of counsel with
Right.
are the ones who believe with me and who will hold me accountable. And you have that, the person that you want to accept you the most is your wife,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And, the human being on this planet is your wife, and she's a good godly woman. So it's sometimes when you're struggling, you just have to find those friends that will hold you accountable, who believe in the things you do.
There's good peer pressure too.
Yeah.
There really is.
And that's a good part to leave this segment. On the next segment, we're going to talk about looking ahead for Maddie, especially life in college. What is she going to do? Stay tuned, and we'll find out in the next segment.